everybody, and welcome back to the Take 5 Challenge. I'm Henry Perez-Alonzo, your host. And today I'm just excited again to be back here with the challenge, which for those of you that don't know, really is something that started back in 2018 when I challenged the California Parks and Recreation Society to take 5 minutes a month to connect with another professional, whether it's someone who's coming before you, coming after you, or someone at the same level. Really, I truly believe that connection makes us better. As iron sharpens iron, we sharpen each other, and we do this through taking 5 minutes a month and intentionally getting together with somebody to talk, to chat, to learn, to commiserate, whatever it may be. So that's what this show's all about. What I'm doing is modeling through this podcast what a Take 5 Challenge may look like. I'd love to thank CPRS and the Push to Play Network for producing this and having us be a part of this. So really glad to be a part of that team. But today, I'm excited to have a nice conversation with a friend of mine, Dan. So I can't wait for you guys to meet Dan, or what I call him, the Don Fonner. But he will be with us soon. So right after this, I'll be back with my guest. Hi, and welcome back, everybody, to the Take 5 Challenge. So excited to be here chatting with my buddy. So please welcome Dan Fonner. Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Henry?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. For those folks that may not know who you are, maybe you can just give us a little who's Dan? Who are you? What do you do professionally, of course, right? Or you can even give me deeper.
So I'm Dan Fonner. I am the park superintendent for Placer County. I've been with the county since 1991. I just celebrated my 34th anniversary with the department a couple weeks ago, actually. And I'm also a regent for the maintenance management school, lead regent for the first year team, and this will be my 6th year this November with the team.
That's awesome. So just for those that may not know, because for the 3 people that watch, and I always say that's about 3 of them that'll pay attention, I think being me, you, and whoever you tell, where is Placer County in the state of California?
So we're in the northern portion, just north of Sacramento. We go from the Roseville area down in the Sacramento Valley all the way up to Lake Tahoe. So we have several beaches along the Tahoe lake there, and yeah, we're a long stretch from elevation change of about 35 feet down in West Placer to over 6,000 feet in Tahoe.
Right. And you guys, what primarily do when you say over your job? What is it that you look after for Placer County? What are the things that are under your umbrella?
Oh, so all of the parks, the open space, the trail systems, all the county buildings. They also fall under us. We have one big community swimming pool. Basically, if it's outside, it's ours.
Right. And does the county have a rec side of the house as well that you work with?
So we do not. We're unique in that we allow so we're unincorporated. Placer County is where we mainly focus. And then all the corporations, all the little cities like Roseville, Lincoln, they have their own rec programming. Our parks are basically there for field rentals for the baseball and soccer and stuff like that.
So you're the house that they come play in, or something like that, which is kind of cool. So I really, was interested in you talking about 34 years. So now that what's spinning in my head right now is longevity, right? How, and it's you've been to Placer County, this one agency for 34 years.
Yeah.
Which is for some of our younger professionals, that's their whole life, right?
Right.
So how is the question?
I've had a couple opportunities. In fact, I had an opportunity recently to possibly move to another agency. But to be honest, my roots run so deep here that there's a certain level of comfort. I know so many folks in the community. And it's just it would be hard for me at this point in my career to walk away and go, I'm going to go to another agency. And I know there's always that looking for a new challenge, looking for something new, or looking for more growth. But I've had such a long career here. And to be honest, I started out working boots on the ground, mowing lawns, pulling weeds, trimming trees. I did that for 17 years before I started moving up into the ranks. So the first 17 years alone was just field work.
So when you went, okay, so you had opportunity, and I'm just asking this because I just left after 13 years with one agency to come to a new one, right? But to stick it out at this point for you, is it more comfort, or is it that you think that you're still getting challenged, or I mean, what do you think it is? I mean, and I asked that kind of for me,
Right.
and I also asked that there's some folks that we know that our younger generation are hoppers, right? We'll just call them, they're going to go agency hopping.
Yeah.
But so you're almost like a unicorn, right, these days?
Yeah. I mean, it is. We joke around the department that I've become the department's historian at this point.
Yeah.
Part of it is, I will say, part of it is a comfort level, right? But I do have a lot of daily challenges, and I have so many connections in the community that I would feel almost bad walking away from all these, because there's a lot of commitments. There's a lot of things that I still want to accomplish here, that I just feel like I haven't got it done. And until I do, I won't feel right.
Yeah. That's funny, because that was one of the things that, when I left my last agency, it's like, man, there's like these really cool projects that I want to finish and be and know that, I pushed it past to completion, yet I had to leave them, right? I had to leave them there, and now someone else is finishing them up, and maybe I had a vision that didn't go there, and it's really kind of interesting to kind of think that through. But I love the fact that that is something that you're actually getting to do, but maybe not, because who as a career goes to, right? You're on the back end, in the back 40, of your career, and I would say the same thing on my end. It's like, this is kind of probably my last. I keep saying it anyway to myself, it's my last stop, right? So, okay, so what are you going to do? How are you going to finish well? So how do you help yourself strive to finishing well?
Well, right now, like you said, at my point in my career, I'm really trying to set a path forward for those that are going to follow in my footsteps. I carry with me a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge that really needs to be put on paper. That's one of my goals for this next year, is creating site manuals for all the sites that we have, because it's not just me. There's another handful of guys that have been around 25, 20 years plus that are, looking at retirement in the next few years. And if we don't get that institutional knowledge recorded, it's going to be lost.
Yeah. So how do you do that? Not just the knowledge that needs to be written, but what about the people, right? How do you go about getting your people ready?
Well, that's part of the other thing is, working on constant staff development, making sure they have the skills they need to succeed, and moving forward, looking at who's trainable, who actually wants to move up, and making sure that they get the resources they need to make that happen.
Right. That's pretty cool. And is it a struggle, or?
Sometimes. Part of the problem is, like any agency, we have a backlog of things that need to be done. And unfortunately, training and, using the opportunities for personal growth sometimes doesn't get the attention it needs, because we're busy doing something else. So, our new administrator this year is really making that a focus, personal development a focus on, knowing that there's folks on the team that are really looking for some growth opportunities, and we're looking to invest in them. So that's one of the things we also want to focus on this next year.
Yeah. And you already do that in some sort. You mentioned when you introduce yourself, you're already kind of a part of, the maintenance management school and the teaching staff, which I would say I have the honor of being on that staff with you. And at the same time, it's like that. Is that your way also to not just give back to Placer County, but to the profession and to learn for yourself?
Oh, absolutely. The maintenance management school has been huge. I would say, in my long career, it has been one of the most fulfilling things I've done, is giving back to the trade. New students every year, and I get to see them come back for year 2 and year 3, and really making connections. When I look back at my time teaching with maintenance management school, it's been amazing, being able to give back and hopefully impart some knowledge that I've worked hard to get over the years, and some of the up and coming professionals. I love doing that.
Well, the cool part too is you're just such a cool dude, and like I learn from you, and I tease, and I know I tease you, call the Don Fonner kind of a takeoff of the Godfather, because really you have that presence that when people are around you, E.F. Hutton's fine. So when the Don Fonner speaks, everyone's around and listening, and it really is a genuine, authentic thing. And I'm not trying to like just pour all kinds of love on you, but I am at the same time, because I think that's important as a teacher and as a professional, especially for those that you're trying to leave a legacy with, right? Yeah. So it's not just the stuff you're trying to, the historical written stuff, the succession planning, the training, but you're trying to leave a mark beyond yourself, and it feels very authentic when you're around you. And I don't know if that's something that you ever think about like that, or if it's even in your mind like that, or if it's I'm just Dan.
Yeah. And you nailed it there. I don't really think about it. It's just part of my core personality. Yeah. I had some amazing mentors over the year, and my goal has always been to share that with whoever's willing to listen.
Yeah. Well, they listen. I know that. I've seen it firsthand. So,
I've had some great students.
Yeah. Hey, so thinking about like the trainings and then the trade, right? So the parks guys are guys that are down, boots on the ground, doing the thing. It's not easy for them to get to the trainings. It's not easy for them. What are some of the struggles that we need to be aware of, especially from the rec side? What should we know of what's going on with you guys?
Yeah. So much of the professional development is geared more for the administrative folks, the office people, and that's always been part of my passion, is trying to figure out how to reach the boots on the ground guys. Some of them, may not want to be a supervisor or a manager or an administrator, but maybe they're a grounds worker 1, and someday they want to be a grounds worker 3 or a senior grounds worker, or we still need to continue to find ways to reach those field staff that are kind of underrepresented, but also the largest majority of folks that work in parks trades are the field staff. Yeah. So it's always been one of my kind of pet projects, is to figure out how to reach those folks that really want to advance, but maybe they're not looking to be the next administrator.
And I think that's a good thing to be aware of, because not everybody wants to necessarily move up to the top, right, where where you have to wear grown-up clothes, right? Yep. Or what do you mean? I have clean hands. Whatever it may be, right? And I think that's important to make sure that they have their education. Is there something you're doing, like even with just your crew, that allows that to happen? I know there's the opportunity for maintenance management school, but is Placer doing anything?
So we do a lot of internal training, and then, every crew has guys that are subject matter experts, or women that are subject matter experts in specific things. And when we do our biweekly safety meeting, we kind of rotate through the crew. We don't just have the supervisor staying up there always talking. Instead, we rotate it through the crew, and we talk, somebody's an expert on towing trailers, if somebody's an expert on the backhoe, we have them share that knowledge throughout the crew. And I know not every department has that opportunity. Yeah. And so trying to find a way to present that to other departments, even if they're just local ones, to share that information, that's kind of something that I'd like to be able to do.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Now, that makes me wonder, does the crew know what's going on there? Because the fact that they're teaching is something that kind of makes them better as well. I've seen that. I know it makes us all better, but do they know it? That's the end result, or is it just kind of like, I can't believe Dan's making us do this training again?
So it varies from week to week, right? Yeah. Sometimes you get 3 or 4 new staff members, and they need to know how to operate a piece of equipment. But then I also have my senior staff who's been here for 25 years, and he has sat through this same training 15 times. Yeah. So it's a matter of trying to keep everybody engaged, and those that have the knowledge, call on them to share their wealth as well. And then all of a sudden they perk up and pay attention. So really it's all about delivery and knowing your audience.
Yeah. So what piece of advice, or what would you tell, hey, rec side folks, even though Placer doesn't necessarily have it, but you do have users and things, people that would think about for other organizations, what kind of advice or what would you want us to know about you and the guys that are there on the ground making everything pretty and proper?
Yeah.
And that's totally downplaying it, just saying, and I recognize
Yeah.
that.
And I get that too, right? The core job is the clean, green, and safe. But, I always tell guys, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. In fact, I would encourage you to step out of your comfort zone. That's kind of the career path that got me from boots on the ground to sitting behind a desk is, being willing to do something. There's this mindset that, oh, that's not in my job description, or that's not my job, or that's outside of my, comfort zone. I don't,
Yeah.
but it's, the guys and the people that get promoted in the industry aren't the ones that mow just a little bit better than the other guy that mows.
Yeah.
They're the ones
Yeah.
that are willing to put themselves out there and maybe take risks, take personal risk, and challenge themselves. And that's part of what has kept me here so long is every day is a new challenge. It's constantly something I'm learning. Going to school and talking to students, I probably learn just as much from them as they learn from me.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to open yourself up to learning, then you've already lost.
So that seems to be kind of the key to, what we talked about earlier, that longevity, right? Is the lifelong learning. And I'm a huge proponent of that, right? Being able to continue to sharpen your own, own knife and sword so that you can then help sharpen others. And I think that that's exactly what I see out of you. And I see that, I would love to just sit and probably talk to your staff and hear what they've got to say about you. And you may want to hear it or not, who knows? But it may be one of those things. But I think that I just appreciate your take on that and on what needs to happen and the growth, because it's very similar to what I see on the rec side, right? So it is Parks and Rec, and it truly is a partnership. It could be Parks and Rec and Parks, whatever you want to say it, however that goes. But I think as I hear a blower outside my window, which is kind of fun, yes. I'm like, hey guys, did you know we're talking about you? But the partnership and the need for each other is huge, and the need to make sure that we are both growing in the way that we need to grow, I think is good. And I'm so happy to hear that that's what's happening with you and your team as I try and strive and do that with mine as well. Now, this is the Take 5 Challenge, and what I do for my guests, and I have to ask them all too, is the Take 5 Challenge is really asking folks to intentionally take the opportunity to meet with others, 5 minutes a month, if whatever they've got, so I got to ask, are you willing to take on that challenge if we put you together with somebody?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, we got another one in the books. That's what I like to hear. Hey, any final thoughts, or is that, where can someone get a hold of you if they want to, reach out and, talk to the Don Fonner? Is it through email? Just let us know so we can find you.
Yeah, so mine's pretty easy. It's dfonner@placer.ca.gov. In fact, I usually share that at Maintenance Management School, and I kind of keep track of students that reach out and ask questions so that, if they come back around in 3 months and go, hey, remember when we talked about this?
Yeah.
So I love meeting other parks professionals and getting their insight, so I'd be excited to take that challenge.
That's awesome. So, well, thank you. Thank you, Dan, so much for coming and hanging out with me and taking 5. I really appreciate it. And it was fun talking to you. So, and I look forward to seeing you in person the next time we're together.
Yep.
So thank you. And folks, I will be right back with my final thoughts on what we just talked about. So we'll be back. Welcome back. That was fun to talk to Dan Fonner to get his take and to really recognize, I think sometimes the Parks and Rec sides don't really know and understand what's happening with each other. But I recognize through Dan that we are doing very similar work in getting people to go to where they need to be, right? Are we prepping them for what's next, and are we providing the tools that they need to grow in the profession, and even to make that choice, right, for longevity, and knowing that he's been in his with his agency for 34 years. That's a long time, And not a lot of us do that. I can't say I have. Yeah, sure, I've had some long stretches at, 2 other agencies before this one, but not all in one. And I think that takes a lot. And I think it takes a lot of self and personal growth too that allows him to say, I'm going to grow in this way, whether it be teaching at maintenance management school or whether it be having the crews teach and share. I think there's a lot to be said from the learning and the re-energizing yourself through what's going on at your agency. So I would just encourage everybody to just kind of sit back, relax, and don't be in a hurry, I guess, to go somewhere is one of the things that I kind of got from Dan. It doesn't mean don't look. It doesn't mean don't, figure out if this is your right space. It just means that you don't have to be in a hurry to go somewhere because the same place may be able to offer you challenges that you may not even be aware of yet. He said it took him about 17 years to get to a certain place, right? That may be a long time for you, but that's okay. I think it is about patience and us intentionally taking hold of our own careers and taking hold of what can happen next for us. Just always a pleasure, honestly, to spend time and speak with Dan. And I encourage you, if you haven't seen him or met him, and you see him in the hall somewhere, make sure you go up and say hi to Dan. As we can. And once again, I just want to thank CPRS, the Push to Play Network, and all that it helps to do to bring you the Take 5 Challenge podcast, to bring you the opportunity to see what a Take 5 may look like. And I challenge all of you to take 5. Go out there, sharpen yourself with another and make sure that you are becoming a better you professionally. So we'll see you next time on the Take 5 Challenge. Once again, I'm Henry Perez Alonso, and we'll see you then.